All right, so I'm just going to talk about how a bank dispute scam works. A bank dispute scam is when you buy something from something like Amazon, for example. You make online purchases with eBay, Amazon, Etsy, AliExpress, whatever merchant that you bought online from. You can always dispute the charges to your bank saying that, you never received the item or that the money that was taken from your account was fraudulent and you changed your credit card or debit card afterwards. This works very well if you are below 18, especially if you have a virtual Visa debit. Now, this is how scammers do it. I do not recommend anyone doing this method because it is highly illegal and it's fraudulent, but this is exactly how people do it. And I have seen that people are making around $2,000 to $3,000 a month. The first thing that you would need to do is to create an account on Google, Gmail, or Proton Mail, whatever it is. Just go ahead and go in your Google Chrome or whatever browser you use. I'll just click on this, create account, and let's just say new account, right? New account. Now, how scammers are able to pull off disputing with their banks $2,000 to $3,000 a month is that they have multiple banks and they have multiple, let's say, Amazon accounts or whatever. But what they do is they mask out their IP address and their devices. So I'm gonna show you guys how scammers do it. So on this here, for example, there's a bunch of email services that you can use. One of them is being gmail.com. Now, if you do have a burner phone and let's say like you have two phones, right? You could use one of those phones. If you have a SIM card for one of those phones and like data plan subscription every month, you can try and get like a phone number. You can always try to change your phone number each time because whenever you create an email on Gmail now, so I'll just show you guys. If you create a Gmail on Gmail, sounds pretty goofy, but if you create an email on here, right? So this is what Gmail do. So they'll ask you for your phone number. Now there are websites that gives you free phone number verifications, but usually those websites are very slow. You don't want to do that. So if you do have a burner phone number, you can always go to, Google and you can always try and make an account. Now again, I know that most people don't have a burner phone that they can just, change the phone number constantly to get a new email. So what I have found to work the best, these scammers, what they did is they'll use like a VPN, right? So right now, I'm currently using a VPN, and as you guys can see, this is my location, right? I'm using a VPN from Canada, so this is a fake IP address. It's just coming from my service provider. Now, for this method to work the best, you need a VPN, so there is somewhat of a startup cost with this method. Because if you do look at ExpressVPN or NordVPN, for example, these VPNs, it works pretty well, but the best VPN out there is ExpressVPN. For ExpressVPN, there's a bunch of locations that you can choose from. For NordVPN, there is also a bunch of locations that you can choose from, but if you choose a location, it'll just give you a random VPN. You can't choose an actual VPN server. So I would recommend ExpressVPN more, but it is a bit more expensive. Well, way more expensive, but it is better because it's better for this money making method. So the startup cost is usually only around $20 for a subscription with a VPN. And then when you spend the money to buy an item from Amazon or something, you dispute the chargeback with your bank. Let's just say you want to create an email, but for Gmail, for example, you can't create a Gmail at all because you need a phone number. And let's say your phone number is linked to multiple accounts. So what I seen people doing is people will use Proton Mail. So this is another email provider. This is a very reliable email provider. Proton Mail is protected under the Swiss law. When you do open an account on Proton Mail, just make sure that they don't ban you. Now, I have about 10 Proton emails. I played around with it, but according to Proton Mail Services, their policy is that you cannot open multiple emails that is trying to, commit a crime or something. You can't do that because it's illegal for their for whatever service that they offer, right? You can open like multiple emails, and this is what I found worked for me. You can just use a different VPN each time. So let's say you create like blah blah blah, like just say like you create a random account, right? So after you create this Proton email, so what you could do is you could go to settings and you could go to your cookies, and what you could do is you could delete every single thing on here. Proton Mail won't have access to your data anymore and they won't even know who you are. So just delete everything. But with a VPN, only make one singular account. So the process is pretty simple. What you will do is you will create a Proton email. This is just a summary, right? You'll create a Proton email, but before you make this Proton email, you have to make sure that your VPN is turned on, right? make sure that your VPN is turned on. So when you create a Proton email with the VPN turned on, Proton Mail will see that, oh yeah, it's a different IP address, and they won't flag it because if you create the same, like if you create multiple email accounts on the same IP address, obviously they're gonna flag it. Every single time that you create a new Proton email, you have to change your IP address to a new IP address. And this is why ExpressVPN is much more helpful than something like a Norton, for example. You could get Norton and you could make a bunch of accounts on Proton email and you could change the IP address every single time you make a Proton email account. They will flag you if you do not change your IP. But if you change your IP every single time, they won't flag you. But if once they do flag you, they will flag every account. Let's say you make 100 Proton email accounts and they never flagged you, right? They never flagged you. But one day when you woke up, they flag like one day when you wake up and you log into one of your Proton email accounts and they flagged that account, what's going to happen is they're going to flag every single one of the 100 accounts that you made. So once they find your account and they flagged it, it's completely over for you. The thing is that it's a very safe email service provider to use. Just make sure that you don't get flagged because when you do get flagged, that's when you could lose all your email addresses and you won't be able to sign in to any of your accounts that you made, like let's say on Amazon, AliExpress, Etsy, or anything. So another email services that you could use other than Proton is you could use something called atomicmail.com. Atomicmail.com, or sorry, atomicmail.io is a new email services and they're trying to target the crypto community. So if you look here, like even on their website, like one of the email notification is a crypto wallet recovery notification because this email service provider, what they do is they're trying to target the crypto community, and as you guys all know, crypto is a pretty high risk type of thing to get into. But with atomic email, I have made around like 20 atomic mails so far because from my experience, atomic mail is less safer than proton mail when it comes to bot detection. So you can make like 100 emails on atomic mail and they won't even be able to detect you, unlike proton mail, because they have a weaker bot detection system. From my experience and from what I experienced, they have a weaker detection system, so you can get away with making a bunch of emails. Just make sure that you change your IP address every single time that you make a new account. If you do something like ExpressVPN, for example, ExpressVPN, they let you buy private VPN addresses. So when you do get a subscription on ExpressVPN, they'll ask you to get they'll ask you to perhaps buy like a private IP address. A private IP address is the only IP address that you'll ever own. So no one else can own it except for you. You are the only one who owns that IP address. And I'm pretty sure that you could buy an unlimited amount of private IP addresses. So that is how you make the account. But what's the process of making money from this? Like, how do scammers genuinely make money from doing all this? So, with the fake email, with like a burner email that they make, they'll sign up on Amazon. And keep in mind, once you make one singular email, you can go on Amazon, on Etsy, on AliExpress, on eBay, and you could use that email for every single one of these companies. The thing is that scammers will create one email and they'll go on like a bunch of different websites and buy stuff from a bunch of different websites. And that way, with one singular email, they are able to buy the most items and they won't have to keep on creating new and new emails on each website that they go on, because none of these none of these websites actually work with each other. So the process of making money from a website is you'll buy a product from them, it will be shipped to your house. After it's shipped to your house, wait a period of time. Let's say an item has a 15 return window time. You will wait for about 2 days. Or as soon as you receive the item, you can just file a return or a refund. Amazon, now what I'd recommend you to do is as soon as you receive the item, and again, this is for educational purposes, but as soon as you receive the item, you can just file a refund immediately on AliExpress. Now, I can't picture the refund system on AliExpress themselves, but you could always say that the item is defective. And this is how scammers are able to get away with it, right? they'll say that the item is defective. When you do ship it back to them, when you do return the item to them, they will give you a free return label. But let's say the return label costs $11, right? And the item that you bought, you could just like refund with them and they'll give you back $9 in total because that's how much it costs, right? They will likely just let you keep the item for free if it's below $11 or whatever the return postage is, but it's likely not going to be $11. So most of these items are definitely not going to be worth that much. If Amazon never give you a refund and they tell you to return the item, most scammers will do is they'll return the item, right? But they'll put like a random object, right? So when they return the item, they'll put like let's say like a playing cards. They'll just put playing cards into like a shipping box and they'll ship it back to Amazon, right? After they ship it back to Amazon and they see that you shipped it back and you returned it, they'll just give you a refund immediately. But then the sellers might report you and say that it's fraud and that, if you get too much reports on you, then they'll completely ban you forever. So you could ship the item back in a box, but you don't ship back the real item. You ship back a different item of different value, like let's say like a piece of paper or something, right? So you just ship back a piece of paper even though you ordered like a computer and then you ship it back to them, you get a full refund, and guess what? You have your money. And then you only ship back a piece of paper. You didn't ship back the actual PC or like the computer that you ordered. Or the other way that I see people doing it is they will just go immediately to their bank, like immediately to their bank. They'll go to their bank and they'll say the item never delivered, or they'll say the item never delivered, or they'll say that it came in defective. And with most banks, 100% of the time, they will ask you to resolve the dispute or resolve the problem with the merchant. So if you bought something from Amazon, right? If you bought something from Amazon and you just go straight to your bank and dispute it, and they tell you, "Do you dispute this transaction with Amazon? Do you try and figure things out with them?" And you say no, they're gonna tell you to go back and talk to the merchant. But if you did say yes, and let's say like you never talked with the merchant and you just say yes, they'll be like, okay, so what's the day that you contacted them on? And you'll just say like 5 days ago, right? And they'll ask you these simple questions that you can just make up lies about it. And then what these banks will do is they'll say, we'll investigate this transaction, just hold on and we'll get your money back. But 100% of the time, these banks they either do a horrible job at their investigation or they don't investigate it at all and they'll just give you your money back, right? They'll just give you your money back. And the only thing that you'll ever need to say to them is the item never delivered and you tried resolving things with the merchant, saying that you tried to resolve things with the merchant and that they never gave you a refund. I see that as like the best way to get your money back. They'll just say that the item's defective, and the most important thing that they'll tell the bank is that I tried my best to resolve the problem with the merchant, but they're not giving me a refund. And if the bank sees that you tried, or if the bank hears that you have tried to reason with the merchant and they still not giving you your money back, then they have to, give you your money back. So the bank will just side with you. And when the bank says that they're going to do their investigation, this is where most people get scared. They actually never investigate it because let's say you said that you messaged the merchant or you called customer support, right? They said that they can't give you your money back even though you never called customer support in the first place. The thing is that your bank, they can't track any of that. Like when you tell them that you called the merchant or you emailed them, they don't know your email. First of all, if you're using a different email besides the one that you use with your bank. Second of all, your bank doesn't have access to your email at all. Third of all, there is hundreds of thousands of calls, emails, and customer support messages every day. They can't track that at all. So the only thing they do is they just give you your money back. It's impossible to investigate something like this, right? Unless the FBI gets involved, because that's when they have all the resources. But your banks, they are amateurs. They cannot investigate any of this. So that is how scammers get away with this. And every single time that like you dispute, like let's say you buy an Amazon, you dispute like 5 times, right? You dispute 5 times on one singular account. You make a completely brand new account following the same method that I was talking about. You use a different IP address with a different email, and you'll sign in or you'll create an account on Amazon, eBay, whatever website you want to do, and you'll use a different IP address aside from your home address. And you could also spoof up your computer. You could change your computer specs by going to like, because there's a lot of ways that you could change your computer specs by using a virtual computer, and that's really complicated. And that's how like you'll make the big money, and you'll never get flagged. But most of the time, I guarantee you, if you do not turn on your VPN, you will get flagged. So this is how scammers do it, and yeah, that is how people make $2,000 to $3,000 a month. It's that easy.